Well, I think first game of the season, which also gives us an opportunity to defend the trophy which we won last season. We know it's not going to be an easy game. I think it's probably the most difficult game we can ever, have, on the first day of the season, because of, probably one simple reason that we're playing against a new team that just came up, and we don't really have an idea what kind of a team we are going to come across, and it's quite a little bit difficult. But at the same time, I think our preparation will be very key.
Coach, I just had a look at your squad. You look a bit short in terms of the left-footed players. Kura Mahachi is out due to obvious reasons, or Primitiva is out at your nemesis, if you like, Twani. Are you looking into going to buy a new left-footed winger or left-footed player, because you really look thin at this moment? You look thin at this moment in time in terms of left-footed players.
Afternoon, Karabo. Very good observation. I think you're right. We're a little bit thin there. Probably we only have, Onisimo Basera, who's the only out-and-out left-footed player. But at the same time, I think, in attack, we usually even don't always use, left-footers. We brought in Ikram Reyners, who can also play on the left, but playing lopsided, we can cut inside, to take shots at the goal. So which means we won't be playing a crossing game when we play with lopsided wingers. But in terms of depth, especially left back, we have quite a few problems there. And we might be able to try and look what we can afford, in the market. But at the same time, in the meantime, it's a little bit difficult, for us, because we have had, budget cuts. So we don't, really have, the money to go into the market. Probably we have to look in our MDC team, to find, that left-footed player.
Coach, in terms of the preparations, were you able to play friendly games? How hard has it been? The new players, did you have enough time to work with them? Are they ready to? Are they likely going to feature?
Afternoon, Charles. Well, in terms of preparation, I think it's not, ideal, but at the same time, I think we've got to do what we can with the time we've had. I think we've had only, 3 weeks, to prepare, coming off the bubble. But I don't really think that we lack, much in terms of, match fitness, because we only gave our players 1.5 weeks, break after, the bubble. So in terms of fitness, I think the players are in good shape. And at the same time as well, we never really changed our team. If you look at it, we've had, few departures. That's Dean Femen, Thabo Mnyamane, Kalinge, as well as Aubrey Modiba. But in terms of the core of the squad is still, around. And we have few new players like George Chigoa and Ikram Reyners, as well as 2 youngsters which we got from Vets. That's Kenan Phillips and Mpoma Tebula. And they're gelling well with the team, although it might take, a little bit of time, for them to really get going. But we are happy with their progress at the moment.
Coach, I just want you to make understanding of your new signing, George Chigoa. Any particular reason why? Because I think you've got a player there that is good, who's been at the club for 9 seasons or more. He understands the culture of the club. He's been there for far too long. I was thinking that maybe this might be his breakthrough season. Well, obviously second to the skip of the side, that is Ronald Williams. So any particular reasons why you went out and brought in Chigoa? Obviously, he's been at the club as well over the past couple of years. But about Folapule, does this mean this is going down the pecking order at the club?
No, not necessarily. I think if you look at it, also renewed, Bafopule's contract with another 3 years. So that shows the belief and trust which we have in him. But at the same time, we've got to look at strengthening that department as well, because we had lost Washington Narubi. And George was also coming on the free, and that gave us an opportunity to, to bring him over. But we want to compete, and we will need, to solidify in all our positions. And I think that's one area which we thought that we can also try and strengthen. And I think Pule has done extremely well. And all those goalkeepers are still they're still be pushing Ronwen for that starting berth. And I think that can only improve, Ronwen as well as the rest of the goalkeepers as well.
Coach, I just wanted to find out, I think the elder statesman in your side, Clayton Daniels, is obviously a crucial component of your defense. And if you look at last season alone, I think he started 28 games. At 36 years old, in your seasons now, how much of a role has he got to play for this team, and in terms of managing him? What are your plans?
Afternoon, Sandile. Look, when it comes to Clayton, Clayton is very key, for us, in defense, and in the team as well, because he's one of the senior players, also one of the, our backbone. And we always try and, identify players that we can build a team around in all, positions. And I think Clayton, comes in handy in terms of doing that. He's very key going forward. We're not really looking at his age, because it's about what I see on a daily basis at training. We see the hunger and desire to succeed, to do well. And also, the role which he plays in terms of helping the younger players, like the Luke Flores, Titi Ditlogwe. They're all 22, and Titi is 22, and Luke is only 20. So those youngsters are learning a lot from Clayton, and he's still very healthy, trains well, looks after himself. So he's still key, to us, going into the new season. And I think he can still do well for the next 2-3 seasons for the team.
Afternoon, sir. How are you? I hope you're well. Can I ask you, TTM, you mentioned already dangerous package. You don't really know what you're expecting. But to make it even worse or to make it even better, that sounds like it's a big mess there. The coach is not in place yet. They're still trialing players, etc., etc. Is that perhaps a mitigating factor for you, or does it make them even more dangerous?
Afternoon, Mark. I think it makes it a little bit more, even more dangerous for us, because you must understand that a lot of players who have gone there, they are players who would want to prove, themselves. And I think a cup game gives them that opportunity to do that, playing against the champions. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very, difficult for us. But at the same time, I think we need to really try and focus on ourselves and make sure that we prepare, very well for this game. We've tried by all means not to be sidetracked by what is going on in their camp, because that has got nothing to do with us. We have to try and focus on ourselves and make sure that we go there with the right mentality, in the right frame of mind, because this game is very key for us.
Coach, when we spoke with Stan, I think towards the end of last season, he mentioned that primarily the mandate of the club would be maybe to finish in a continental qualifying position next season. But given a sort of a mandate such as that one by the club, how will it important though to start well in the MTN8 and possibly defending the title, and maybe just trying to make sure that you don't fall away from the pace setters come the end of the season?
Afternoon, Mitlali. Look, I think for me, what's important is progress. And if I look back, since I took over as caretaker coach, I think I finished 7th when I took over the club. It was we were 14th, and we were 2 points above relegation, and we ended up finishing 7th in that season. And the following season, when I got up, appointed as head coach, we got into the MTN8 final. We lost it to Cape Town City on penalties, and then we finished 6th. And the past season, we got into the MTN8 final again, and we won it, and we finished 5th. So for me, I see progress. I see building, because if you look at the team which I took over, which I inherited from the team that is there now, there's been a lot of changes, in terms of, playing personnel. A lot of, players have left, like the two Sopalas, James Keane, the Yeyes, Morgan Golds, all those players have left, and we've seen the emergence of younger players, coming into the team. And the same thing as well this past season, where we've got Aubrey Modiba leaving, and as well as Dean Femin and Thabo Mnyamane. And those were players who have, played a huge role, previously in terms of, our success as a team. And they've all gone, and we're still building, we're still going forward. And that's what I always try and focus on. I think I don't want to look too way ahead, I just want to make sure that we building the blocks, and we are bringing in, players who are capable to take us to where we want to go.
The Lucky Mohomi, is there an update on him? Are you signing him? And also, if you could just add, despite losing Dean Femin, you obviously went for, I think, Paul Matebula and Apollos teenagers from Bidvest Wits. What would you say attracted you to these players, despite obviously the gap, if you consider it a gap that was left by Dean?
Lucky Mohomi, I think for now, I'll let the club to make an announcement when the time is right. I think it's only fair. Coming into the players which were brought in, like the young players, like the Mpoma Tebulas, that's what I spoke about, earlier on. There are two things. One, it has to do with the finances. We don't have a bigger budget to spend in the market, because Dean was a different player. He was a top player, Bafana International, as well as also our captain. So to replace a player like that, you need, to have a huge budget. But at the same time, you've got to try and see how can you go around it, probably play it differently, and bring in a younger player, who you can try and work on, to fill that role. And as well as giving opportunities to all the other young players as well who have been working, with Dean previously, like the Teboho Mkenas, the Sipombule, Jamie Weber, Moses Waiswa, to carry the baton and give them that responsibility, and see if they've got it, in them to carry the team forward. But you can only know if you give them, that opportunity. And there's no anyone blocking them at the moment. They will get opportunities to play, and that's what we are trying to do.
Thanks for the last question. Can I ask you an update on Mahachi with the COVID and Mbule, who pulled out of Bafana?
Mahachi is still in self-isolation because he tested, COVID last week. When we did our COVID, testing like we normally do. And so he's still in isolation. He's not part of the weekend game. As well as Sipombule as well. He had a slight knock on his knee, when we were in camp in Polokwane. And that's why he couldn't join Bafana. So he only started training yesterday. So he's not going to be fit, to play on Saturday.